Welcome to another edition of Still River Deep Dive. Today, on this deep dive, we're actually going to have a conversation with one of our clients and his journey. We're going to talk about where he's come from, where he's going, and the products he's building, right, in this new age of technology. Without further ado, I'll bring to the stage Mr. Joseph Lockett. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, AD. I feel real appreciated right now, real professional.
Oh, absolutely,
um,
man.
yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, like, without a doubt, man, you're doing some good work, and I want to make sure that the audience and people in general just understand what you're doing and what you're creating. So, before we get into that, tell us your journey. Like, who are you? Where'd you come from? What are you doing? Tell the people about you.
Yeah, so Joseph Lockett, originally from Atlanta. Um, I am a Tuskegee University graduate, finance major, uh, recent Georgia Tech graduate for a master's in business, and then now currently I am a master's in fintech at Kennesaw State student. So that's on the school side, and on the professional side, I'm a writer and producer, so I work in the media entertainment field, and that's where I really get like a lot of my creative juices flowing on that end. And so with everything on the media entertainment and on this, that's where I decided to come together to create my production company, A Producer. And so A Producer is a creative writing development and licensing platform where idea, you don't have to have any type of media entertainment background or anything, but if you just love movies and TV shows and you just have an idea, you want to just develop it, then you can come on and then from there you can just go and tweak it and then set up like a production pack or a story pack to present to the world once you're ready.
So, let me ask you this. So, how did you land? Like, what was the inspiration around a producer?
Yeah, so it started when I was at Georgia Tech for the MBA. So I didn't have a job then, so I was a full-time student, and then I was doing like a lot of writing, creative writing, like working on the story, working on the script, and then from there, um, it was kind of like, let me just go ahead and just start studying how film financing works and like kind of put that business lens on the entertainment and media industry. Understand how film financing like works, like what's the ins and outs, and then I kind of just ran from there because what I noticed was that Hollywood, which is like more than $1 billion industry, it has a lot of gatekeepers. And I started to like realize, like from just me watching movies and TV shows, like a lot of movie stories are getting recycled. And I'm not talking about like the traditional like rags to riches storyline, because they're like distinct storylines that are there. But the part that's getting recycled is like Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, 10 Fast, 10 Furious. So you got like a lot of those where those franchises like Jurassic Park, like people love dinosaurs, but there's like a lot of them. It's and after a while, it's not really original. And on top of that, to help with the independent market, I started to like really just understand how did the Hollywood financing work so that I can replicate the good parts that goes into the to help independent creatives to get their stories out there and
Yeah,
to
so
to
basically you
unlock
saw a
like
need.
the money capital. Yeah, exactly. And so before I even got to A Producer, um, I started to actually I was a producer for a short film, Triggered, which you can watch on ATL Movie Merch, and I'm gonna tie it all in. And so while I was a producer on that project, I started to do the fundraising aspect, and then I was like, it's got to be a better way than Indiegogo and Kickstarter, because I'm begging people to just give me money, which is cool. It works, but there wasn't really anything tangible in the meantime, between time, that I can give to my supporters. And so from there, that's when I started to just dive into the merch side. And so I created like merchandise for Trigger to help with the production, to help with the brand awareness. And so that started off. So I was like, oh, you know what, this is a pretty good business when it comes to developing a merchandise system for independent filmmakers to help with their fundraising. So that way they don't have to like, the cash flow isn't limited, because once you set a campaign for Indiegogo, Kickstarter, you have those 30 days, maybe 60, and then after that it's over with. But with the merchandise, then it's an evergreen cash flow machine, basically. So even pre-production, during the middle of the production, and even post-production, and even distribution, you can always sell the merchandise, and then that can help with the cash flow in between time, so people aren't strapped for cash, and then you can just go and buy, like, you can use that cash to go and buy equipment or secure locations or pay people, where, since you're creating jobs, it's a lot of job creation. um, and so after Georgia Tech, after I graduated in 2024, spring 2024, I was in CreateX. So Georgia Tech has a CreateX program where it's called Summer Launch, and it's the Georgia Tech incubator and accelerator. And so I did that for the summer, and so I was developing the ATL movie merch. And what led me to that was good customer discovery, because it worked. Like it's like active, it's live. I have filmmaking teams that's on there that's selling their merchandise right now. But one big thing that I noticed is that people will come to ATL movie merch, but they will still go to Indiegogo or Kickstarter for the fundraising. And so I was like, how do I kind of create a closed loop network from beginning to end? And so that led me to AYeProducer. Um, and another thing that led me to AYeProducer was a book called Choke Point Capitalism, because that book really highlighted the way that Hollywood industry does a lot of underrepresented artists dirty, when it comes to like payouts. Like, for example, YouTube, you gotta have a minimum of 1,000 subscribers to even start monetizing your account, and then from there, you're getting paid less than 1 cent per view. Same for Spotify and everything. And so that helped form ATL Movie Merch, because you can get, let's just say, just ballpark numbers, you sell a t-shirt and you can get $5 per t-shirt, and that's just ballpark numbers. That $5 per t-shirt is still a greater, um it's still a greater ratio than like trying to get 1 million views for the still less than pennies on a dollar. um and so reading that, understanding like the tricks in the trade of how Hollywood is really doing people dirty, um so that they can increase shareholders value, I was like, all right, how can I create a production company that can do that same thing, but instead flip the script where I don't get 85%. I may get 15%, or I may get an X amount percentage of, just to be the executive producer. for the project. And so that led to playing around with AI. And so with the AI aspect, I was like, all right, well, as a producer for my short film Triggered, a lot of people that came up to me, they were saying, well, how did you even come up with the idea? Or like, I've been a writer and now I want to produce, or vice versa, but I don't even know where to start. And so that's where I kind of uh, found the intersection between art and AI to help jumpstart people if they have a even like a sentence or a few words, and then the AI can help expand that out to just a bare minimum. Because I don't want AI to just be super invasive or uh, take out the roles of human work in X, Y, and Z. I still want to keep the artist in the loop. I still want to make sure that the artist has full autonomy of how the story is developed and where it goes. Um,
So
but
what was that
when it
moment
comes
for
to jump starting,
you? What was that moment for you where you was like, all right, I can use this as a tool to help propel me? Like, what was that thing that triggered for you?
yeah. So playing around with it, Replit was that thing. It's the platform to help vibe code because I just sat at my computer and this was a couple of years ago. So Replit wasn't as advanced as it is now. But Replit, it just helped me vibe code so I could connect a lot of the technology and the AI pieces together. And so once I like unlocked that part, then that's when I was like, oh, cool, I have something. Let's see how this goes. And so from there, customer discovery kind of just took it away from there. But the interesting thing about it is that since it's my production company, I kind of have full autonomy of how to present myself. And and this is just a tool that I want to use as a for anybody, like even you, AD. Like you're not a writer, you code. You know, you can come on and you can if I have a story idea, a movie idea, I can license it out to you, and then you can code the video game. You know, and then that way I can get the licensing fees, you can get the rights to actually produce that art, and then you can build a team and everything about that, and then we can create like a revenue sharing type of model. And so that was probably the biggest thing because Hollywood is super greedy, and I wanted to I wanted to create a ecosystem where if you have your idea, you can you can store your idea, develop your idea, and then monetize it. And then on top of that, it loops in the ATL movie merch. So if you're a production team and you're ready, then you can go on the ATL movie merch and then go full fledged when it comes to fundraising.
Nice. So you're really building an ecosystem, and so you're a person that connects dots, right? You see patterns. You're like, all right, this is how I can close some gaps. Now, first of all, what is the domain that people should? I want to make sure you're promoted. Like, what is the domains that people should visit?
Yeah, so aproducer.com, AYeProducer.com. That's the main domain. And then from there, it's linked to atlmoviemerch.com. But you can go to atlmoviemerch.com as well if you want to just skip straight to that step.
Got it. Got it. You know what? Because I'll just make sure that that we actually have something up for you. Let me put it up, and I'm gonna show this
Hmm.
little banner. I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep that up.
yeah, for sure.
AYProducer.com. Sorry. I'll leave that up. So tell people how did like you and I, you're doing these big things and then you and I connected. Tell people about our relationship. How did we begin to work together? And what value, right, if any, that you
Yeah,
got from
so
from working with me?
yeah, for sure, for sure. So first and foremost, AD, you great when it comes to like what you provide. Everything tech related when it comes to because where I was at, I only had I had a working prototype, And then I had like a lot of documents from a executive, non-technical standpoint of like a products requirement document, everything of that sort. So I had like the business side of it. But first thing when we met at AI Tinkerers, which was a pretty great event to just to understand like more technical components of being an entrepreneur. First thing you told me was like, "Hey man, just put this on GitHub." So that was the first free game. That was the first free game. After that, you started charging me, but but once I got it on GitHub, and then I started to work with Claude and to just understand what I built, then I could like really standardize and build a professional MVP, a minimal viable product to actually like test, user test, connect the Stripe to make sure money flows, the AI is working correctly, and even just clicking through the pages that there's no mishaps when it comes to mis redirects and everything. But it was great because working with you help understand the technology aspect when it comes to working with VS Code and then the cloud extension, and just seeing how AI just does a lot while still giving me the authority to shape and mold what I want. Um, because yeah, I could see like code that was just being generated, um, and even just super domain experience, like, hey, like this Stripe account test account isn't working. Like, let's deep dive. What are we doing? And let's figure out what's going on. Um, but all of that boils up to just helping me understand as a CEO, non-technical, the power of what how the technology works. And then also like you help me mold and connect a lot of the business development to the technology as well to make sure that everything made sense. Um,
And you know what?
so a lot of that.
It was more
Mhm.
about what you like. You were able to get out of your head into like you knew what you wanted, right? And I think that is the
Yeah.
biggest unlock. I was just able to help pull it out, and that was it. But you did it, right? And I just want to acknowledge that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. And so now, since we've had our interaction with AYeProducer and developing that, I've upgraded from Replit to Google Anti-Gravity, which is more advanced. And even though I'm not able to like actively read the code lines and stuff like that, the natural language component helps me to really refine and pinpoint what do I need to build out. And then I can see it being like the code lines being built out as they go.
Man, you know what? I appreciate the plug, man. But again, you did most, it was your thinking. I just helped execute. Now, this is the time I would love for you to show some aspect of a producer. Right. If you
Yeah,
could
yeah, yeah,
share,
yeah, for sure.
let's show people what it is. At least one piece of it.
Yeah, for sure. Let me share this screen. All right, can you see this?
Yes.
Yep. All right, cool. So this is a producer, and then AD, I'm gonna give you the honors. Give me a story idea to type in here.
Oh, okay. A love story between two young kids from Atlanta that grew up as babies and then came back together when they were 50.
All right. Um, and so I put a love story between young kids from Atlanta that grew up as babies and reconnected at 50.
Yes.
And so, what type of format do you feature film? Let's probably stick with feature film. That seems cool. But we have a lot of different formats: feature film, TV series, short film, web series, documentary. If you wanted to have this as a novel or a comic book, graphic novel, video game, X, Y, Z, like it's a lot of different formats as well. But we can just do feature film, and I'm assuming it's a romance, not a
Yes, let's make it a
horror.
romance.
Or
That's a thriller. It's a thriller. Let's do romance.
and then also just for labeling aspects, do you see this as an animation or live action?
Animation.
Animation. Okay, cool. So we generated some ideas. All right, so we got three options. Peachtree Reunion. Auburn Serenade. I think those are cool. But we can go with Peachtree Reunion.
Yeah, let's go with
And
Peachtree.
so this is the format that's generated. So you got your log line, which is just a one sentence synopsis. So like if you scrolling on Netflix or anything, yeah, you see like that one sentence right there before you watch a movie. That's what this is, and not in a romance destined for by a forgotten memory. And then you have your synopsis, which is right here is three paragraphs, and then you have your the plot points of like what are the series of events that's happening in this movie, and then you have your character details. So you have the description of the character, the background, like Aaliyah, she grew up in a small town outside of Atlanta, always feeling like she didn't quite fit in. So that provides a lot of context to who she is and how to write her as a character. Her parents were supportive of her artistic pursuits, but encouraged her to pursue a more practical career. That's pretty that's pretty good because now it shows more the inside of who this character is. It actually helps her brings her to life. And so you got the other characters, Ethan and Chloe. So we can just save this to the journal. So yeah. So what you think
So
so
a
far?
user
Why
of
this
the
is thinking?
system, this like for our audience, this is an accelerator, right? You might have writer's block and you don't know where to start, right? You might have creative juices
Mm-hmm.
that you just need to get out. That's what this tool represents.
Mm-hmm.
And you created.
So
So tell
this
people
is
more
the
about the
idea.
journal.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the idea journal. So this is so it's a disclaimer that this was generated by right here, but it shows what the original idea is that I use as a prompt and then the AI suggestions. So right here we can view the story, make some edits. We could attach any type of documents that's right there. Um, what else can we do? We can look at the characters. We can make edits to the characters, attach any documents. Like if this is an animation, then you may have some pictures drawn out of like how you want these characters to look, or the scenery, or whatever the case may be. And then one of my favorite parts is the world building. So the world building is everything in a movie that makes it real. So this is an animation. It's relatively based on real life. So it's not like a Black Mirror episode or anything like that sci-fi, but it shows like the political element, like Atlanta operates under a mayoral council government. The Peachtree Festival itself likely receives city funding and support, making it subject to political considerations such as budget allocations and community initiatives, X, Y, and Z. This is economic. You have more of the social elements of the story, and this is all the aspects of the story that you see but don't really talk about. It just makes the world real for people to jump in and get invested in what the story is. So we're gonna open up in the workspace, and then from here, this is where we can make tweaks to the idea. So we can say this is Peachtree City reunion. Um, Two strangers unknowingly. Is there any changes you want to make right now?
No, this is brilliant, right? And the intent is really to show people, what the power of this tool. Now, for those that are interested in like
Hmm.
getting a membership or subscribing to this, how can they do that?
Yeah, for sure. So we do have a pricing page, and then so we have a freemium. So you can start off for free. You get 10 AI generations per day. You get this basic story development, character creation, idea journal, and then community access. And then the plans go up from there, where the most popular one is the Pro, which is $49 per month. So it's unlimited generations for the story. You get your story packs. You can, and as features roll out, because we have a job board and we have a story exchange. Because, like, let's say, AD, you wanted to take this story all the way through. You can post it on the job board. You can hire and create jobs that way. Um, and then you can review resumes. You can actually contact people to make sure that they're serious and make sure that the idea that you want can get across correctly. But if you want to go the more passive route, then you can license it out. You can say, hey, I want this to be a comic book, or I want this to be a video game, or I want this to be a TV series. And then you can go from there and then license that out. And then that way you can get the licensing fee. I can get the right to actually produce the content, and then we can have that shared revenue stream from there. Um, and so yeah, so that's basically everything when it comes to pricing. So, and how to sign up.
So where can people find you? Like, how can they, if they want to connect with like Joseph, right? Where can they find you? I know we got AYeProducer.com, but where are you located?
Yeah. So you can always reach out via email, jlockett at aproducer.com, AYeProducer.com. I'm on LinkedIn. You can search Joseph Lockett, MBA, specifically because there's a lot of Joseph Lockett's. And then Instagram. You can find me at ATL Movie Merch on Instagram.
Wow. Well, you know what, Joseph, man, this has been like an amazing, and I want to give you what I'm looking for. I'm just taking, dude.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, another one.
Yeah.
There you go. Good job, man. Great job, Joseph, man. And it is abundance for you, man. And I wish you all the best. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling. This is not the end. I just wanted to make sure that people
Yeah.
see the work that you're doing, right? Because it's valuable. But
Yeah.
with that being said, man, I appreciate your time. Everyone, please visit aproducer.com. It's scrolling. Like, if you don't know how to spell it, AYeProducer.com. And support
Yeah.
Joseph, right? He's doing some amazing things. And I
Yeah.
know there are people out there who have ideas, right? You've had an idea about a book. This is your chance. This is your opportunity, right? To have some structure, right? From a professional in the industry. And that's what this represents. So with that being
Yeah.
said, any parting words from you, Joseph?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, AD. For a lot of reasons. One, for the tech build out, helping me navigate that, but also just believing in seeing it, because, like, when you told me that your past work history, how you used to work with Warner and all that, you connected to like the industry and how dirty the industry can get, you know. And just having that understanding of like there are other possibilities, there are better ways to do the same thing and to see your story and like get represented. Like it's they Hollywood's locked up a lot of the stories where you see the same stories, the same character archetypes, X, Y, and Z, but where are the stories from like just that I can resonate with, that people in Atlanta can resonate with, or Georgia, like some like Peachtree reunion, like that's hyper
Mhm.
specific, but it's something that it shows like a deeper type of connection point for the audience to say like, oh, this is my city, this is a different type of pride. And and I'm excited to see the future because like there's a lot of different avenues that this can connect when it comes to business to business, business to schools, helping kids and teens develop their ideas and understand like the creative process, and also like from an economic infrastructure and job creation development, like every story idea can create jobs.
It really can. It can build a whole world. It really
Yeah,
can. Dude, well, it's a pleasure and it's a blessing, and we'll keep doing business together, and we'll
yeah.
wrap it up. And until the next time, we will see you at the next update.